Hello people, this is Sonali, the Melodramatic Bookworm. If you've been here before, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to the Melodramatic Bookworm family. I'm here today with a video, the idea for which came when I was interviewing the amazing women from Writers Melon a couple of months ago, in which I had asked the question, which is a movie to book adaptation that you really love. I sort of stumped even me because I hadn't known about a lot of movie to book adaptations at that point, but I got researching after that and I found books that were written based on movies. To be very honest, I haven't read most of these books and I haven't watched most of these movies, which will come as a surprise because some of these movies I feel like everybody has watched them by this point. But I made this list not because I have to make a list of these things I have to do, but because we see so many book to movie adaptations every single day. Every single day one adaptation or 10 adaptations are being announced, but we hardly see anything about books that were made from movies. Books that were based on movies and not movies that were based on books. So without any further ado, let's dive right into this video and let me take you through the books that were based on movies, that were written after the movies were made and were released. The first and most famous example of a movie to book adaptation is A Love Story by Eric Segal, and this was originally a screenplay that Segal had written. Later, as the movie progressed, Paramount Pictures approved the production of a book for this. They commissioned that a book be written for this, and hence the book Love Story came into existence. This book was released, I think, on February 14th for Valentine's Day, so that it could be a good marketing ploy for the movie. And the movie was directed by Arthur Hiller, and it is one of the most beloved classics of all time, classic romances of all time. And I've read the book and I watched the movie, and both of them are beautiful. I mean, I wouldn't say they are like masterpieces, but they are beautiful, they are sweet, they are warm, they are gut-wrenching. Next is 2001 A Space Odyssey by Arthur C. Clarke. This is the story of space and time travel, of aliens, of the connection between the past and the future, and about the fight, the battle, the war between machines and man that made the machines. I haven't read the book, I haven't watched the movie, but this sounds so interesting. This is such a huge part of our of pop culture of our times. And this book was written in, I think, 1968 by the science fiction writer Arthur C. Clarke. This was based on the movie of the same name, which was directed by Stanley Kubrick, and the screenplay was by Kubrick and Arthur C. Clarke. The book was written in parallel as the movie was being made, and it was released after the movie was released. The story itself based on different short stories that Arthur C. Clarke had written, including one called The Sentinel, which was written in 1948 for some BBC competition that was being held, and later on it was published in 1951 under a different name. It was called Sentinel of Eternity or For Eternity, and then later on it became this whole 2001 A Space Odyssey after it was adapted into a movie, and then it was made into a book. Next is a very famous movie, and I don't know if people know about the book. I didn't know about the book, so I can't assume that people didn't know about the book. But that is E.T. the Extraterrestrial by William Kotzwinkle. This is the story of a little E.T. alien who comes from outer space, and he finds himself on Earth, but he misses his family. I mean, he finds Earth very fascinating, very interesting, but he misses his family and he wants to go back. Now his friend from Earth, Elliot, has to help him. The book by William Kotzwinkle was based on the screenplay by Melissa Matheson. The movie, directed by Steven Spielberg, was released in 1982, and the book released in the same year. And there was also another book that released in 1985. I think it was a sort of sequel of sorts. It's called E.T. the what was it? The Book of the Green Planet, a new novel it's called. And you can see the movie gave birth to two books. Number 4 is Back to the Future by George Jipe. Back to the Future is about Marty McFly, who uses a time machine. I don't know the details because I haven't watched the movie, but he uses a time machine and he goes 30 years into the past and he meets his parents, who were teens at the time, and tries to set things straight. What he's trying to do, I don't know, but he's trying to fix things. But this particular book, Back to the Future, was based on the screenplay by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. Robert Zemeckis was the one who directed the movie, and this is like 2001 A Space Odyssey. This is such a staple of pop culture, it feels like to me. And yeah, I'm really excited to watch the movie as well as to read the book. I don't know if I can find it anywhere, but if I do, I will definitely try to read the book. And let me know in the comments if you would like me to read all these books and to watch all these movies and make a reading vlog out of it. It would be a really interesting thing to do in my opinion. Next is 13 Going on 30 by Krista Roberts. This is a book based on the screenplay written by Kathy Yaspa and Josh Goldsmith, and it was directed by Gary Winnick. And 13 Going on 30 is it's another sort of, I don't know, time travel-y kind of thing. 13 Going on 30 is a story of Jenna Rink, who makes a wish on her 13th birthday that she wants to grow up. Like, she's had enough of the bullying and she's had enough of everything that's going on in her life, and she wants to grow up. And so the next day she wakes up as a 30-year-old woman, and now she is a 13-year-old in the body of a 30-year-old woman, and now she has to navigate that life. It's an interesting thing to see because 30-year-olds themselves cannot navigate life properly. Imagine being a teenager stuck in a 30-year-old body. It's a very fun movie. So to see it in written form is going to be even more interesting because the imagination can run wild. Like, you can do so much more with your imagination than just watching it. I loved Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo in this movie, and I'm really looking forward to reading the book. I have watched the movie, by the way. Oh yes, this is the second movie in this list that I have watched. I'm very proud actually. 2 out of 5 so far is great. Next up is Rain Man by Leonore Fleischer. I've heard Fleischer, I'm really sorry, but I've heard so many good things about this particular movie. This stars Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman, and this is the story of Charlie Babbitt, who thinks that once his father passes away, he's going to get all the money, all the inheritance, but the money goes to a man who was with his father in the hospital, and apparently he's his brother or something. And now when Charlie and he meet and how their relationship progresses is the whole plot of the story, I think. I'm not really sure. I didn't go into the details because I didn't want to know everything about it because I want to watch this movie. But this was a movie directed by Barry Levinson, and it came out in 1988, and the book was written by Leonore Fleischer and was released in 1989, based on the screenplay by Barry Morrow and Ronald Bass. There are very few movies that I feel like I have to watch, and this is one of them. Next is V for Vendetta by Steve Moore. This was based on the screenplay by Lily and Lana Wachowski, which were in turn based on the graphic novels by Alan Moore. And the movie was directed by James McTeague. The movie starred Hugo Weaving and Natalie Portman, and I watched this movie. I really liked it. It talks about vigilante V in a fascist government, and it talks about an uprising, about a rebellion of sorts. It is a good example of how not to be an oppressive government, to how not to be an oppressor, instead of actually taking it as an example, as a role model on how to be. Last but not the least is The Shape of Water by Daniel Krauss and Guillermo del Toro, and this was based on the screenplay by Guillermo del Toro and Vanessa Taylor, and this was an Oscar-winning movie directed by Del Toro himself. This talks about the story of a mute cleaner at a high-security government laboratory in which a a humanoid amphibian kind of creature is being held, and she sort of is attracted to the creature, and they slowly fall in love, and how she tries to help him escape from a very evil colonel and the tests that he is making. We watched this. Sally Hawkins is amazing in this movie. The movie was great, and I didn't know that there was a book until I started doing this research, and I'm very surprised. So no, I'm very surprised that I have already watched this movie, and that my score is now 4 out of 8, and that is saying something. I'm very proud of myself. At the beginning of this video, I thought I hadn't done this. I mean, I thought I hadn't watched a lot of the movies, but good for me, I guess. So those were the movies that were turned into books, the movie to book adaptations. Which of these have you watched? Which of these have you read? Which ones caught your attention? And which other movie to book adaptations do you have as recommendations for me? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, please like it and share it to spread the word. And if you like my content and would like to see more from me, don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the bell icon beside the subscribe button to get notified as and when I post new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, keep reading, keep watching, and add melodrama to your life.